This is how to find an equation for an absolute value graph. So the three things that you have to find every time when you're trying to identify how to write an equation is you need to see if the graph is facing up or down. Up means positive and down means negative. What is the slope? So that remember that is your A value that you're looking at. So we're going to write that next to it, our A value. And what is the vertex? So its equation it needs to be in is y equals the A value times the absolute value of x minus b plus c. So we're going to write down all of those three steps on the left side to identify. So we know that it's facing up, so we know that the slope has to be positive. So I'm going to put up. 2, we're going to find the slope, so we're going to count from the vertex up to the next point. So it's going to be up 1 over 1. So our slope is going to be a positive 1 because it's facing up. And then we want to find our vertex point. So our vertex point is -4, 1. So how we're going to write our equation is we're going to use this form up here. So it's going to be y equals, our A value is our positive 1. You can either decide to put it in the equation or not. So we have 1 times the absolute value of x. Now remember that it's the opposite of the -4. So it's going to be a +4 absolute value and then +1. So our equation could also be written as y equals the absolute value of x plus 4 plus 1. So that would be how we would write our equations. You could write it one of two ways, and that would be our equation from our graph. Okay, the second one, so we have to find our three things. We notice that it's facing down, so it's going to be a negative slope. So it's facing down. Now our other thing that we're going to notice is we have to find our slope. So we're going to take our second one, and we're going to go from our vertex, which we're going to go down 1, 2 over 1, 2. So that means that if it's 2 over 2, it's also going to be 1. So if you notice you went down 1 to the left 1, it would be right here. So it is a 1 slope, and it's going to be a -1 because of the fact that you're going down. So remember that. So it was a negative slope because we went down 2. And then a positive, we're going to try our 3. So we have to find the vertex. So the vertex is at a +3 up 4. So that means it's going to be a -3. Sorry, we're actually going to write it as the vertex. So we have 3, 4. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So now we have our equation. So we have y equals, so it's going to be a -1, the absolute value of x minus 3, and then plus 4. You might also see it as y equals a negative times the absolute value of x minus 3 plus 4. We made it a -3 because of the fact that it was a +3, and it's always the opposite of that b value. So remove it. Now we have number 3. So we are identifying that it's facing up. So we're going to write that. So it's facing up. Our slope, so from our vertex, is up 1 over 2. So our slope is going to be a positive 1/2. And then we have to find our vertex. So it's at -5, 0. So our equation is going to be y equals 1/2, because that's our A, times x plus 5, because it's the opposite of our b value, and then we don't have to write +0 because that doesn't have to be included. If you would like to add +0, that's okay, but that would be your final equation. The last thing that we have to notice is that we are going down, so our graph is facing down. Our slope is going to be 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, so it's going to be a negative. It was down 3 over 3, so it's going to be a -1 slope. And then we have to find where our vertex is located. So our vertex is at -3. So we have -3, -2. So our equation is going to be y equals, now it's a -1 times the absolute value of x plus 3 minus 2. So if you wanted to write it another way, it'd be y equals a negative absolute value x plus 3, because it's the opposite of our b value, plus 2. And that would be our final answer.